This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association. Your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark Magnuson.
Hello and welcome into Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Tuesday, August 8th, 2023, and we're so glad you could join us for today's show. In today's episode, I will be visiting with Troy Bauer of BASF. We're going to talk about sudden death syndrome and soybean cyst nematode. That is coming up in today's show. I will also have a check of the ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
At the end of another trading day, we are joined now by Tyler Schau of agmarket.net for our closing market analysis. Tyler, what did we see take place on the grains today?
A little bit of everything. Started off down to the downside, kind of found some footing when the outside of the macro markets kind of rebounded and grains kind of rebounded with them. We're going to close positive for the day, or it seems like on most. Wheat's kind of wanting to give it up here late in the day, but a little bit of positive news after several down days in corn and beans and wheat, for that fact. One of the first positive days we've seen in a while.
And Tyler, of course, for the beans, they were down big yesterday, and that was, of course, driven because of the weather that has turned in the favor of, I guess, having cooler temperatures and more rainfall. But then, of course, that obviously works against the price, and that's kind of what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, good rains over the weekend, cooler temperatures as we look out into August. Some are going to say that maybe the forecast for the next 2 weeks has become slightly more threatening for beans. I'm not certain I'm in that camp yet. I think a lot of it today is kind of an outlook on China. We've gotten some news today that China has increased the amount of beans that they are importing. We're hearing some massive flooding in northern China, which is causing some pretty big time grain loss up there. So just, kind of this story that maybe we're going to see the China enter into the world market, become a bigger buyer of grains than maybe what we were projecting as of right now. And that's got some major implications on the WASDE report coming up. There's a lot of people want to see the exports for the U.S. trimmed, both corn and beans, and it might be more difficult to make that case if you're going to have China importing more production from wherever, whether that's from us or Brazil or whoever.
And Tyler, you mentioned it, that WASDE report coming up at the end of this week. We're also starting to dip our toes into the numbers as we get some of those crop tours taking place, getting some actual data to look at as far as potential yields. Are we still in that early fact-finding portion, Tyler? Is there anything that we can draw any conclusions from yet?
I think we're early. We're going to be. You mentioned some of the crop tours. That's going to be really interesting. I think we're going to get through this WASDE report on Friday. We get a 1 week, and then the Pro Farmer Crop Tour starts the following week. You're going to start hearing reports out of the field. This WASDE, August will kind of start, I think, the direction of what yield does towards, the final number in January. If we're lower in August again than we were in July, it becomes more difficult to really pump that number up in September, October, and November. I do think one of the things we do know is we're going to see some resurvey results in the August WASDE on acres. If you recall, the June 30th acreage report cut soybean acres by like 4 million acres, but there was a caveat that there would be a resurvey, and we would get that information in this report. So we're going to find out if they add any bean acres. Possibly, if they do, maybe they're going to take some away from corn, maybe some from wheat, or maybe they just add some on some double crop acres. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. So yeah, the next 2 weeks probably going to be. I wouldn't expect them to be any less volatile than what we've seen for the last 2 months, anyhow.
Tyler, another interesting thing that took place over the past couple of days is we got the crop ratings update on Monday. And I know in some areas, I believe it was Illinois, they had jumps as high as double digits. I think they went up like 12% in one of those crop ratings. So that can make a big difference. It shows, I should say, that the moisture still can make a big difference even at this portion of the season.
Yeah, and especially important in a large producing state like Illinois. If that would have occurred in North Dakota, where I'm at, probably not quite as big of a market mover as when it happens in Iowa and Illinois, where you're already producing massive amounts of the crop. So, from a producer standpoint or a production standpoint, that was good to see some of that crop stabilize. And I know I work with a handful of producers in Illinois who just a month ago were really concerned that they had too many bushels of beans contracted. They weren't going to produce them. They were coming in. They were buying call options to protect themselves in case this thing got out of hand. And most of them have gotten out of those calls because now they actually went from expecting a crop failure on beans or a major reduction in yields to telling me they're going to produce an average yield, possibly even better now. So those rains have really helped that crop in several parts of the Corn Belt.
And I guess that just goes to show how important it is to stay on top of everything as well because of how quickly things can change. Tyler, as we switch over to the livestock side of the market, what are we seeing taking place there today?
There's been some pressure in the cattle market the last few days. And I don't know that it's anything noteworthy. I mean, the fundamentals are still tight in feeder cattle and fat cattle. It's going to be tough to find cattle. I think, I've mentioned a couple times in here now, we keep trading into record highs and putting in not just contract highs, but lifetime highs for the cattle complex. And whenever you do that, there's going to be some worry. You've got people that are trading this that have made a lot of money and they want to protect that equity, or they've got in late and they're worried about this thing falling apart. And so there's a lot of air under there. So again, I just come back to, if you're a cattle producer and you need to hedge, hedging at record levels is never a bad idea. I'm not calling for anything drastic to happen, but you never know. It's always the what we don't see coming and the outside markets. And hogs are just, they kind of went from that sold off big time there into June and have had a massive rally here over the last 2 months. Kind of the same token, I think a lot of people are looking for them to break. But there again, fundamentals are still kind of tight on the hog situation as well as we look out into the third quarter.
He is Tyler Schau, our guest here today for our closing market analysis. Tyler, how can our viewers get in touch for more marketing information?
Check us out on the internet, agmarket.net. And if you want to call direct, number 701-987-6009.
Tyler, thank you for the time as always, and we will speak again soon. Have a great day.
Sounds good. Take care.
Thank you to Tyler Schau with agmarket.net. Let's turn our attention now to the closing numbers, courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. September corn is up 3.5 at 485 3/4. New crop December corn up 3 even at 498 3/4. September soybeans up 5 1/4 at 1353 1/2. New crop November soybeans up 4 even at 1306 even. September soybean meal down 90 cents at 418.30. September soybean oil down 10 cents at 63.98. Chicago wheat up 1/2 cent at 681 1/2. Minneapolis wheat up 5 even at 845 1/2. Kansas City hard red wheat down 3/4 cent at 781 1/2. And December oats up 3.5 cents at 430 1/2. On the Merc, August live cattle unchanged at 179.70. August feeder cattle down 97 cents at 246 even. August lean hogs up 57 cents at 102.10. And August pork cutout up $1.02 at 111.27. And that's been a check of the Ag Market Recap here on Ag Matters PM. It's time now to take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. And when we come back, I will be joined by Troy Bauer of BASF. This is AMPM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Mark Magnuson for the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and I'm joined today by Troy Bauer. We are at the BASF test plots, the field day here today, and Troy talking about all things seed treatment and specifically tailored towards, and he also was talking about today, soybean cyst nematode and sudden death syndrome. Troy, why are those, of course, still at the very top of our mind when we think about things that we have to worry about as growers?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Mark. As we continue to grow soybeans, those two pests are going to continue to grow in importance, and soybean cyst nematode is number one out there in terms of pests that our growers have to deal with. Sudden death syndrome is number three as the ranking occurs from the industry experts, but if a grower has SDS in his field, that can quickly become the most important pest out there.
And Troy, what is the best conditions for these two pests? Where are they most prevalent?
Yep, so wherever we grow soybeans, we're going to have those pests. Usually what happens is as we start to grow soybeans in a new part of the country, soybean cyst nematodes will come in 1 or 2 years after we've been growing soybeans. SDS a couple years after that. We've been growing soybeans for a long time in the state of Iowa, so many of the growers in the state of Iowa have to deal with both of those pests.
So Troy, what specifically were you talking about here today at the field day to let growers know about, let them know about how they can hopefully slow down the spread of these pests?
Yep, so soybean cyst nematode, we've been using a genetic source of resistance for a number of years called PI 88788, but we've been using that for over 30 years, and we know that as we continue to utilize the same source of resistance, Mother Nature always figures out how to overcome that situation. And so we've got to really figure out how to manage for soybean cyst nematodes. And our industry folks would say, number one, we need to soil sample to determine the level of soybean cyst nematodes we have out there, and if they're present, and most growers have it present in their field. So the second thing you want to do is you want to rotate to non-host crops like corn. Many growers in Iowa know how to grow corn. We're the number one corn state in the nation, so we know how to do that. Use genetic resistance like PI 88788, but as we continue to use that, soybean cyst nematodes continue to learn how to reproduce even more and more rapidly on that. So then the last thing we want to do is use a nematicidal seed treatment such as Olivo seed treatment. And Olivo does a great job. It controls nematodes at all stages of the life cycle, and that is a great way to increase profitability for our growers in the marketplace.
So Troy, say you are a grower here in the state of Iowa and you grow, going into a season you're going to be growing soybeans. Do you recommend this to every soybean grower?
Again, I would fall back and say, let's soil test. Let's understand what level of populations we have out in the field. If we're at 500 eggs or above, it can be economic. So then we need to start implementing all the other steps. And an or a nematicidal seed treatment is a very important step for growers to consider.
And you mentioned already a little bit about that growing, or I should say that being in the field year to year and then it continuing into the next growing season. What is it that allows the pests to continue to go into that next growing season as well? Is it anything to do with the weather? Is it with the conditions, the dryness?
Yeah, so I think soybean cyst nematodes, they seem to cause more yield loss in dry years, but they're going to reproduce every year and increase. SDS that we touched on earlier, that's a disease once it gets in your field, it's going to be there forever as well. And so that's why we have such a huge growth market for a product like Olivo, because it controls both soybean cyst nematode and SDS. Very important pests for growers.
And Troy, as we know, these are yield-robbing pests. They are obviously going to be causing some harm in some fields. But from your side of it, is it a little bit interesting and almost fun to you to try and stay one step ahead of these pests as they continue to adapt?
Oh, we try to stay one step ahead, but pests adapt quickly. And so we've always got to be, what's the next thing we're looking at? What's the next thing we can do? We're bringing Poncho Votivo to the soybean marketplace to assist with soybean cyst nematode protection, and we're going to continue to work with growers to maximize their yield potential.
So Troy, is there anything else you'd like to let our listeners, our viewers know about when it comes to dealing with these pests and specifically as seed treatment can help them?
Yeah, we definitely want to work with our growers to help them achieve the highest yield potential they can. Please visit with your local retailer, visit with your local BAS representative. Let us know how we can help to improve your profitability.
He is Troy Bauer with BASF, our guest here today. Troy, thank you so much. Have a great rest of the field day.
All right, thanks. You have a great day, Mark.
That was Troy Bauer with BASF. Let's turn our attention now to the Ag Weather Outlook. We are getting very close to the start of the Iowa State Fair, which of course begins this Thursday, and hopefully Mother Nature is getting some of the rainfall out of its system here in the next upcoming days so that we can avoid some of that rainfall at the fair and everyone can enjoy the 11 days of the Iowa State Fair. So let's turn our attention now to the National Weather Service and what's coming up in that 24-hour forecast. As you can see from the National Weather Service, mostly sunny with isolated chances for thunderstorms today. Highs expected 80 to 84. Partly cloudy tonight with scattered chances for showers and storms. Lows around 61 to 65. And for Wednesday, widespread showers and chances for thunderstorms with highs expected 75 to 80. And time now for our affiliate weather map for tomorrow. Cherokee, a chance for thunderstorms, high around 79. Shenandoah, thunderstorms likely, then showers likely, highs around 77. Des Moines on Wednesday, showers likely, high around 76. Albia, a slight chance for thunderstorms, then mostly clear, high around 75. Waterloo, a chance for showers, then a chance for thunderstorms, high around 80. And Clinton, a slight chance for showers Wednesday, then showers likely, and a high around 80. For a more detailed forecast in your part of the state, make sure and check with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's been a check of the Ag Weather Outlook. That also brings us to the end of this episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And you can find our video content and previous episodes of AMPM on our YouTube channel. And don't forget our free, twice daily market podcast on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. On behalf of Riley Smith and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.